So 2015 is coming to a close, and with it, the end of a year with a lot of awesome games. There were massive games, open world games, really great RPGs, really great stealth games, which leads me to my number 5. Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, does a lot of things well, but it also does a lot of things well that other games haven't really done before. Because you can pretty much just scout out a town from a mile away in this open world, but then when you actually get into the towns, it's this really tense moment-to-moment gameplay that the series is known for. But there's also just an insane amount of options of how you can tackle situations. You can go at it like a shooter with machine guns and riot shields. You can go at it just like classic stealth, which I prefer, and use the tranq darts and use D-Dog, my favorite character, to try and pick out people as you're going through towns. But in general, it just also told this really great yet melodramatic story that kind of drove home the idea of loss and these really deep themes throughout the entire experience. My number 4 game was Rocket League. I can't really pick out another game this year that I've had more fun with, and every time I go back I somehow keep having more fun, and I can really see the tangible effects of my practice, whether I'm playing online or whether I'm playing here in the GameSpot office or whether I'm teaching someone at home, like old friends who haven't really played it before. There's such great mechanics wrapped around this overall experience that I never really was frustrated with. Even when I was down like 6 goals, I still felt like there was something I could be doing to help my team. There's something I could be doing that I hadn't really tried before. It leaves so much room for experimentation, but at the same time, it's such a fine-tuned experience. Which brings us to number 3, which for me was The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. And this really is one of the best RPGs I've ever played. The world itself is so fun to explore, and it's massive, and you really get a sense of place as you're discovering these new creatures that are really unique to just this universe. But also at the same time, this is the first time I can remember where I wasn't just completing quests for the experience and for the new gear. I was completing quests because the stories were actually really interesting, and these characters were all convincing, and I really just wanted to see what happened next as the plot unfolded. The structure itself was also really great as you approach this part where I know a lot of people thought it was the end, but it turns out that was just the climax, and you have another few hours of falling action as you really get to know a few of the characters. And my number 2 game was Rise of the Tomb Raider, which really surprised me. I was expecting to like it a lot because I loved the 2013 reboot, but Rise of the Tomb Raider capitalized on so much of what made that reboot good that I really had to put it this high on the list. There's just really no fat on the entire experience. It's got the great pacing of something like Resident Evil 4, it's got the quality, kind of rewarding backtracking of Metroid Prime, and it's also got these third-person action elements that coalesce so well. It's got great combat, it's got exploration that leads to this really in-depth crafting. And in the end, the story really satisfied me because it wasn't more of like these random supernatural twists. It was something that actually sort of made sense throughout the story. That brings me to my favorite game of 2015, and I have to give it to Bloodborne. No matter how many other games I played throughout the year, nothing was really quite as satisfying as Bloodborne. It's one of the most rewarding experiences despite how brutal it can be. I remember at least 5 times when I just had to quit for the night because I couldn't beat that boss, I couldn't get past that certain enemy, I couldn't unlock the next checkpoint. It really was just a learning experience the entire time, and now that I've gone back to it throughout the year, I really felt like I've gotten better. And despite that, it keeps punishing me, and it's always just different every time I play, despite the fact that I'm retreading these same areas. You can pick a new weapon and it'll completely change how you play the game, and now that I've gone back to the expansion with the old hunters, I love it even more, and it's probably one of the games I've gone back to throughout the year more than any other.